Hello, and welcome to Talking Loud, our latest episode of Talking Loud. I am the host, Andrew Brower, and you have just joined us on probably the most reliable podcast where you can do everything with the Loud House. Joining me today, okay, first off, let me introduce myself. I'm Andrew Brower, the host, and also joining us, we have the person with probably the best mic among us, Vossi, aka Anglophile Gamer.
Sup? Yeah, I probably do.
Yeah, alright. And then we also have Muppet with us, otherwise known as the guy who collects things the most.
I am the collector! Yay!
And unfortunately, Yoshi couldn't make it on here, but they're going to be recording their parts separately, so we'll check that later on the podcast, so they give their full thoughts. But to make up for that, we have a special guest with us. He's a very good friend of ours. He's pretty well known among some of the Loud House fandom, if you follow certain parts of it, and his name is CynicTheCritic, but we'll call him Digi. How are you doing?
Hello, and look at that. I'm on the podcast. Hi.
Hey, and we're glad that you can make it with us tonight. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. And I'm just making sure that nothing will go wrong as the recording here goes.
Okay.
We're gonna make sure of that as well. So, and we're also glad you're here for this episode because we're talking about the September episodes that came out. Now, it's been almost 2 months since we've had new episodes because we had nothing in August, even though we had a bunch of announcements and other news surrounding the Loud House, like episodes revealed and even season 3 episodes revealed as well. And now, finally, we've had our September episodes have come out, even though one of the episodes, Future Tense, came out like a few weeks ago thanks to a whole thing that was going on with Amazon, but pretty much that was the episode that everyone first saw, and then finally we had the rest of the September episodes come out right around the end, which was pretty much this week now. So now we're going to be talking about today's new episodes, which are Future Tense, Yes Man, Friend or Foe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and No Laughing Matter. So let's first start off with Future Tense. Now, the whole story behind this episode and why it got leaked was because it was originally supposed to come out, I believe, around September 8th or so. I know it was on a Monday. And that was actually supposed to be the week of when the new episodes came out. And unfortunately, Amazon wasn't notified that Nickelodeon had pushed back those episodes a few weeks. So Future Tense ended up leaking onto Amazon. And so because of that, me and several other people got to go see it. And hell, it's even still on Amazon. So you can go now. But that's the episode we'll be talking about. So what were your expectations going to watch the episode, Vossi?
This one. I'm not sure. Like, this is usually the case. I don't usually know I can't usually remember my entire expectations throughout the week. And this is unfortunately one of those cases.
Oh, alright.
I just can't remember. Alright.
Muppet?
Alright, this was an episode I was kind of interested in for having the guest stars. The kids from the Brady Bunch, I think, were the guest stars of the episode. So that was exciting. And I was so glad it wasn't one of those stupid episodes where it takes place in the future like Simpsons has done.
Which that was actually the thing that people were anticipating, like, oh, it's going to be an episode of the future. Then when people found out, they're like, oh no, it's not that. Oh.
I actually prefer that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Along with another friend.
Alright, Digi?
Well, to be honest, I really had no expectations for that episode. Then when I heard it got leaked, I just avoided until it aired. And, I kept getting spoiled left and right on Twitter, Tumblr, and even DeviantArt. And it kind of did affect my enjoyment, just spoiler about that. But other than that, I was a little anticipated for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that, like, when a new episode comes out, it, like, instantly gets spoiled by everyone. Everyone just everything out about it.
Especially when look what happened to Steven Universe.
Yeah, so my expectations for this episode, I wasn't expecting much. Like, it could be good, or it could be decent, I don't know. But before we give our thoughts, let's let Yoshi give their thoughts.
Hey everyone, it's Yoshi Player here, and I apologize for not being able to make the podcast today because I was very busy at the time of when this was recorded. But to make up for it, I'm gonna give you guys my recorded thoughts on all the episodes that came out in September. This is more of an unscripted pod because I'm just giving my quick thoughts. If you want to know my full thoughts on these episodes, then just go check out my Loud House Season 2 video on my channel, Yoshi Player, just in case you guys didn't know that. So yeah, I'm gonna start off by talking about future tense. So I'm gonna start this with a somewhat negative note and say that I am in a minor group of people who are very different about this episode. I'm just gonna admit it. I don't really like this episode that much. Now, let me clarify. I don't think it's bad, but I think it has a major pacing problem. So all throughout the episode, it's repeating the same jokes over and over again. It's just the parents, oh, they see the successful family doing something, they're like, oh no, we're failing our kids. So they make them do stuff, and then when they see them do it again, they do the same thing with their kids, and then they see them doing something else, and they tell their kids to do something, and it all leads to the message of, oh, we shouldn't treat you guys like high school students, you're all just kids, so go do what you want. The pacing of this episode is just too fast for my liking. Everything goes one ear and out the other. Like, you watch it and you're like, oh, that happened, this happened. It's hard to, like, when I first saw this episode, I didn't remember anything about it. I think that's another problem. It's very forgettable, but the pacing is so awful in this episode. It's just so fast. It doesn't take a moment to breathe, and they just repeat the same jokes over and over again. I didn't think this was a very funny episode. I thought it was kind of unique that we finally do get an episode starring both of the parents, not just one of them, which of course in most cases is Lynn Sr. But again, it's just not good potential. It's just not a good execution. It's way too fast. That's not my only problem. The Yachts family. Not only do I find them unintentionally disturbing, because like how they're always fucking grinning all the time. That kind of disturbed me a little bit. But they're only in the episode just as plot devices. That's literally all they're in the episode for. So I'm not gonna remember them as characters, just tools, basically. If I had to name some positives, I liked some of the lines. I thought some of the dialogue was funny, especially when the siblings were talking about what they were doing. I thought that was kind of funny. I also I thought it was kind of funny how during the opera scene Lisa was the only one awake. Like, that was kind of a nice callback to For Bros About to Rock. But yeah, that's really about it. I just don't really like this episode that much. I know that's probably not what a lot of people want me to hear, but in terms of how I usually rank Loud House episodes, I usually just put this one in the average house. That's just how I rank Loud House episodes. So yeah, I know some of you might be disappointed by that, but that's just how I felt about the episode. I apologize. I just didn't like it that much. Anyway, I'll see you guys a little while later when we get to the next episode.
Okay, thank you for doing that. I thought this was a good episode. I thought Future Tense was good for the most part. I enjoyed. It's one of those episodes. It's one of those episodes I think it has everything you would expect it to be, and I thought for the most part they pulled it off. I thought the humor was solid. I like that we had more of a perspective on the parents in this episode. The Yates family, they kind of served more as plot devices, but I still thought their inclusion in the episode, it fit overall. And also, I thought it was nice that compared to other episodes this season, I thought Luna actually had a little bit more to do here in this episode than previous other season 2 episodes. She wasn't a major focus, but I thought this was more than she's been given throughout most of season 2, so I definitely do like this. And I thought she had probably some of the funniest moments in the episode. And I mentioned that after actually now people will be making a lot of fan art of some of the sisters in their costumes. I'm putting money on Lucy in a basketball outfit, and especially Lynn in a nerdy outfit will become popular amongst like the fan art for the 2. I'm just saying. As far as my issues go with the episode. All right. I mean, I do agree with you that again they felt more like plot devices.
But at least
but at least
this.
they would. At least they didn't go down that stereotype of like, oh, like we're so rich and successful, we're also snobby too.
True.
Which was also one of the things that
I
a
mean,
lot
we
of
don't want
people,
another Lord Teppery from out on a limo
which a
again.
lot of people hate that character.
Tetherby.
Oh
Just
yeah, we
thank
should
goodness he
mention that
didn't do
Bossy
that.
hates limo.
It's not a good episode. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's a fine. I mean, out on a limo's not really that good, anyways.
I don't think it's my least favorite episode anymore, but I don't know. I have to rewatch the Bull one later on, which I should really get to doing.
All right, so those were our thoughts on future tense, and now we have the next episode coming up, and probably the one that myself personally, I was both nervous and excited about, and that was Yes Man. Now,
So was I.
yeah. Now, what were your thoughts going into this episode, Vossi?
Going into this one, I thought because it involves Smooch of maybe with like, yay, we probably get some more Luna. Season 2 has totally been lacking that, with the exception of maybe Party Down
And L's for
and
love.
now Future Tense as well. Ellis for Love, Party Down, and I guess not Future Tense, but since those are in the same week, I don't a lot of Luna. But assuming the Smooch theme would probably give us more Luna, I was a little in for it.
All right, Muppet.
Okay. From what we got revealed at the time, my through like a pinball machine. Boing, boing, boing. Because I was excited for the episode, but then when I heard it was about money, I kind of got 4 times Loud House memories back. Yeah.
All right.
So I was wishy-washy about the episode. That's
Okay.
the proper way.
Okay. Ditchy.
Well, I'll be very honest. I was really wary because when the synopsis got revealed, some of my friends did not react positively. Like even one of them thought it, and even started making a hashtag. And even I was nervous because the plot, of course, it just sounds just something that you would come out of season 1, and it's like mid-season 2 already. But the more I thought about it, I thought it could have potential to actually be a good character development for Lincoln and the other Louds as well. So, yeah, I kind of went into this episode with a little bit of both high and low expectations, just in case right or wrong,
All right.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, you're gonna follow me on this one, but my expectations for this episode, just like with Muppet, they were very wishy-washy. Now, I actually first heard about this episode way back in the spring of this year, like when it was first announced, and I've been getting details about this thing, like, oh, Luna and Lenny were gonna be playing major roles in it, and that Smooch was gonna be involved. I was like, this is my most anticipated episode of the season. You have 2 of my favorite characters in the show. You have Smooch, which was also part of one of my favorite episodes of all time for About to Rock. Really, all we needed was a plot reveal, and I was completely on board with this episode. I was very excited about it. And then the plot was revealed, and I kind of got a little nervous about it, because just like with Muppet, I got It's a 4 Times Loud House vibes, which, yes, I know some people have come around and say that that episode is not as bad as they remembered was, but I've gone back and rewatched it, and I stand by my opinion. I still find it to be one of the worst episodes of all time, but that's just me.
My opinion, and I still don't get the hate, but hey, it's your opinion, not mine.
So I was getting nervous about this episode, but then again, I was still excited for it. So I was both nervous and excited for it, but compared to other episodes this week, like Friend or Foe or No Laughing Matter, I wasn't the most hyped for this. And I was like, I want this to be good. I want the episode to be good, and hopefully
We
it
want
would
all
be.
the Loud episodes in the future to be good. No one wants a bad episode.
Yeah, like even in like the worst episodes, like even when you think it might be bad, like with No Such Luck, I still am gonna give the episode a chance because they put hard work into it. It could surprise me. I still want to give it a chance.
Exactly. Even if it has like the most unsalvageable idea, it could turn out well.
Yeah, it could. So now we're gonna let Yoshi give their thoughts.
Alright, so here I am back again, and I'm gonna talk about Yes Man. This is the next episode that came out in the September lineup. So, initial thoughts, I was very nervous about this episode because of the plot that was revealed. It reminded me a lot of It's a 4 Times Loud House, So I was really nervous, especially since it involved money. And in case you guys didn't follow my other video, I really hate It's a Four Times Loud House. I think it's one of the worst episodes of the entire show. Not just top 10, probably top 5 in my opinion. But when I watched this episode, I've thankfully realized it actually wasn't that bad. Now I'll go through the positives first, and then I'll get to the negatives. The biggest positive I had with this episode was Luna. I thought the way she was portrayed in this episode was really well done, and I liked the chemistry that she had with Lincoln. I thought it was adorable how ecstatic she got when Lincoln agreed to help her try and get some money. I thought the way she was acting afterwards was just freaking adorable. I like some of the siblings' attempts to get money. I liked how Lola and Lana used puppy dog eyes to try and convince the parents to give them money. Although it was a bit weird to see Lana trying to be cute, because usually she's against that kind of stuff. And I really liked the ending. I thought it was a very fun ending. It was great seeing all the sisters doing something for Lincoln since he couldn't go to the concert. So I have positives, but there are quite a few things about this episode I don't like. The biggest problem is when Lincoln is trying to ask he's trying to use his sister's methods of asking his parents for money. This scene drags on quite a bit. It takes up a good chunk of the second half of the episode. And it's just not funny. The only funny thing that came out of that montage was when Lincoln was trying Lily's attempts of crying and she gave him a thumbs down. That was funny. But again, it just dragged the episode along, and I don't think it really served anything to the story. It was funny to see Luna tricking Lincoln with the whole guitar thing. I thought that was cute, but yeah, outside of that, not much else was really done well for this segment. And as much as I love the ending, I thought it was really annoying how Lisa's fucking spider thing came out, and it just ruined the fucking ending for me. Like, why do episodes have to end endings with a joke? Especially when it comes off of a nice ending. Like, Room of the Feud already did that, and now this episode does it. And in this case, it's even worse, because it seems like nowadays, whenever an episode ends off with a stupid joke, it has to be from Lisa. It's really fucking annoying. I think the biggest problem I have, aside from that montage I mentioned before, I think this episode could have been a little bit better. Because I think what they should have done, and I did talk to Andrew about this. I actually do agree with him on it. I never thought about this until now. I wish the episode, instead of having that montage, was instead the parents telling Lincoln, "Oh, we can't give you the money because we gave it all to your sisters." So then the sisters see this and they feel bad about it, and then they start arguing about, "Oh, you did this. No, you did. It's your fault." And then Luna shows up, and then she admits that this was her fault, because if you really think about it from the start, she was the first sister to ask Lincoln for money, and she was the one who told the other sisters, "He's the master of convincing." So I thought it would have been a nice idea for Luna to be the one who realized that this was technically her fault from the start, so then she's the one who gets the idea to get Smooch on board with the concert, and then the ending just goes from there, and maybe cut out the fucking spider thing. If that was the case, this would have been one of my absolute favorite episodes of all time. But as is, it's still good. I still really enjoy it. I'm gonna say it's probably a really good episode, better than I was expecting. I wish it could have been better, but I think as long as it's good, that's all that matters. So yeah, I'll take it back to you guys now.
Okay, so how do I feel about this episode?
I know, yeah, probably you guys didn't find it as great or funny. It was middle of the episode with Lisa's convincing the parents. I think it was better there than it was in the ending. Lincoln interrupting his parents constantly. Yeah, it really wasn't that fun. Just kind of a bit frustrating to watch. Honestly, Lincoln trying to impersonate Lily and Lily giving him a thumbs
Down.
how bad it was, but and also kind of like Rita's line, "Don't tell me this is the bucket we clean the bathroom with." I don't know, that line was random. I don't know why. I just did. As a whole, this episode is just really repetitive.
All right.
Hairstyle from, and I quote, "That episode that caused the economy and the fandom makes her." No such luck, of course. The one where when she was spraying her hair could make that, and I love that hairstyle. They got to see it make a homage. Overall, it's not terrible. I'll take it.
Okay. Muppet.
Alright, guys, get ready to hate me. No, seriously, get ready to put your fingers on the keyboards. You go, hold my ass to Kingdom Come. I didn't really like this episode. I'll explain. Positives out. The plot was much. Let me think. I'm trying to think of anything else. And the concert was awesome, except for that stupid spider. Rocco Warner's voice actor just are now returning. However, this is gonna get me hated, but I feel the episode played itself way too safe.
Yeah, that was. I thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention that. That was also another issue I had with the episode. Again, it was safe and predictable. I didn't think it had a lot that was unique plot wise. But continue.
It was too safe, too predictable. Whatever happened to Laura's job or Luann's jobs in the show, or did they get fired?
Yeah, that's another whole issue involving the continuity with this series.
And also, what Luna wanted was kind of gross. Mick Schwager's old shirt from the 80s was kind of cringy to watch. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if anyone knows about Tom Jones, right? Whenever the audience members threw up something, and I think you could figure that out if
Okay.
you know your music.
Honestly, Luna's whole thing of where like she wants Mick Swagger's old shirt, I thought it was kind of cute. Mainly because it felt cute because it felt like such a Luna thing for her to do, where she loves Mick Swagger so much that she would actually get like an old T-shirt of his, and like even though like others would be like it's just a sweaty old shirt, she sees it as like Mick Swagger wore this, I want to have it. I felt like it felt like something that she would do, and I found it cute.
But I've been thinking about this. There's nothing real lost in the episode. Everything is, and I told my teacher who watches the show as well, my film teacher, and he said, with the best story, something is always gained, but something is always lost to make the emotion feel better, which I feel the episode did do, where nothing was lost, right?
Right.
It just made it way too safe, way too predictable, I hate to use this word fan fiction-y, where everyone won in the end, which I really wish the episode kind of didn't do, but I digress. It's still a good episode. Probably I'll be the minority of people who didn't really care for it.
All right, Digi.
I'll be very honest, the episode really surprised me. I mean, it's not perfect, but sure, I will admit that it can be rather predictable, but gotta say, what the stuff that does work here really works. I really do like the methods that Lincoln teaches the sisters of using their strengths, and each sister has a pretty funny method that results in a lot of great gags. Like, say, my favorite ones being Lucy and Lily's. Like, those were the ones that got the biggest laughs out of me. Even when Lincoln's doing it, I'm a little bit in the minority. I still find that funny, even though I'll admit it's a little on the cringy side.
Although,
No, and of course, I have to agree with all of you. Luna was amazing in this episode. I mean, granted, this is not as good as her for Bros About the Rock, House Music, or even her Elves for Love appearance, but her relationship with Lincoln in this is really good. And even if I wasn't in the majority that I agree that Luna is Lincoln's closest sister, I still would have enjoyed the relationship because it is so cute. I just love seeing these two interact, and I really hope we get more of this in later episodes. And I really do, and I have to agree on that the ending is just great. And the factor that it seems like Luna was the one that came up with the idea just what a great big sister she is.
Yeah, although I do have one thing to say. Like, why would Lily need money? She can't buy anything. She's a little
Yeah, that's
baby.
kind of one thing that's a little nipple.
It's
I
cartoon
gotta
logic.
address.
We'll just
Like,
say that.
why would a baby want?
Yeah, cartoon logic is really no solution to that. Doesn't make a lot of sense otherwise.
So why does
True.
she need a new teddy bear? Doesn't she have that one from Else for Love?
Maybe she had too much fun with it, I suppose.
Also, why would Lynn need a new hoop when the one she was using looked perfectly fine?
I don't know. Maybe that's her dad's. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. So those are your final thoughts on the episode.
Oh, final thoughts: 9 out of 10.
All right. Cool. All right. So now we're moving on to the next episode, which I can imagine all of you are going to love, and that is Friend or Foe. So what
Friend
were
or
your-
Fox?
Fox. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pronunciation war for this one.
Yeah, Friend or Fox. We're gonna call it that throughout the rest of it because I pretty much had a hard time trying to pronounce it. But okay, so what were your expectations going into this episode, Bossy?
For this episode, probably just because it's Lisa oriented, I was probably gonna be like, oh, this episode's probably gonna be pretty dang good. And that's, yeah, I feel like the thing with me is that if an episode revolves around Lisa, Lana, or Lola, I'm probably gonna go into it expecting that it's probably gonna be a pretty good episode. Because I think I went into that ideology with Frog Wild, and I love that episode. And I went into my ideology with this. So, yeah, and also I love Tyler's Tale. So it's like, I think I go into if it involves a twin or Lisa, I'm going to go into it thinking it's probably going to be pretty good.
For when I heard about the episode in a podcast or interview with Chris Davino, I was pretty excited, right, to see this Lisa episode. And I was hoping that this would be an episode that develops Lisa more as a character, because Lisa, to be honest, isn't that great is kind of been static, except when she's socially awkward, like in Study Muffin, Lock and Loud, and Room with a Feud.
And usually that's just for
I
a
like
joke.
this. Yeah, that's the best time when Lisa is. But anyway, I was really excited for this episode.
Honestly, out of all the episodes this week, this was the most anticipated one because of the factor that involves around Lisa. Because here's the thing. Lisa is currently my least favorite Loud sister because she hasn't gotten that much development. She hasn't left good impressions on most of her appearances, and her two and making a grade are so like extremely mixed bag. Like I used a lot, it got worse the more I thought about it, and making a grade is a little bit of the same, but I don't hate that episode as much as other people do. I will address it's highly flawed, but there are things that I do like in it. It's just what I'm trying to say is I want to like this episode because if Lisa can be good, maybe I'll take back a lot of the bad things I said about her in the past.
Okay, going into this episode, I was pretty anticipated for it, which was a little surprising for me because just like with Digi, I'm not really big on Lisa. Now she's not my least favorite character on the show, but I feel like I have to agree with Muppet. I feel like Lisa is just a very I don't want to use the word static, but one-note character. I feel like very much her main trait is that she's super smart and basically the smartest out of everybody, and that's really about it. I feel like the only other persona that they use her for is that she's somebody who also is so smart that she's a smartass. And unfortunately for me personally, I've never really found that all that funny about Lisa, because whenever she is using a smartass comment to put somebody down, I just never found it funny. If anything, it just makes her come off as arrogant and not really that interesting. That being said, I was looking forward to this episode, even though I have yet to have seen a good Lisa episode, because Snowboard is her best episode by default, mainly because it's between that and Making the Grade, and I'll talk more about that episode later on before the end of this year when we talk about our favorites and least favorites. But let's just say Lisa has yet to have a good episode, and it's the same case, I was hoping this would be good. I like the plot of it. It seemed like this would be something that could maybe develop Lisa, which is something that I very much wanted to see in the series, just like with Lynn. So, alright, let's let Yoshi give their thoughts on the episode.
Alright, so now we're going to talk about Friend or Fox. I don't know how to pronounce that. So, if you've watched my Loud House Season 2 video, I'll just tell it right now. This is one of my top 5 favorite episodes of Season 2. I'm not kidding. The reason for that is because if you've been following my channel for a while, then you'll know I have autism. Now, when it comes to me being on YouTube, it's hard to notice, But in the real world, I'm actually very autistic. It's hard for me to talk to people, it's hard to make friends, it's hard to do things. So when this episode came out, I was like, holy shit, does Lisa have autism? Because I found this episode very relatable for some reason. I tried to figure out why, and then I realized maybe it's because Lisa secretly has autism, because she's stuck in her own world. She doesn't usually try to talk to other people. She's just doing her own thing, and I think this episode gives a good moral of people who have autism. Of course, that may be just me thinking, but I'm not too sure. For other positives, Darcy. I loved Darcy in this episode. I thought she was just. I just want to hug her so much. She was so adorable. She acts like a typical 4-year-old, and the stuff she does is either funny or just outright adorable. And this was one of those episodes where I actually felt a little tear-jerking when Lisa told Darcy that she didn't want to be friends with her anymore. I actually felt legitimately heartbroken by that, and it's not usually often that an episode actually does that. And then, of course, that led to the nice ending. I thought the ending was really good. I thought it was cute seeing Darcy and Lisa become friends again, and giving Lisa the message of, oh, friends aren't just there to help you get some grade, it's because friends help you in your life, they make you happy. And I think that's a good message, especially to people who have autism. Because, I have to learn, I can't just rely on all this stuff. It's about friendship and family. So I think that's a good message for people who have autism. I really enjoy this episode. I honestly can't really find many negatives to say about it. I guess really the only negative I have is that the episode is a little bit predictable, but I don't care. I think it's still done really well. As long as the episode has a good intention in mind, I enjoy it. I think it's a really fun, really adorable episode. I hope we get more episodes with Lisa and Darcy together in the future. Maybe in season 3 we'll get an episode about these two. If that ever happens, that'd be awesome. But until then, we still have this lovely, adorable episode to enjoy until then. So yeah, I'll take it back to you guys.
Okay, now, remember how I said that I have yet to find a good Lisa episode? Well, now I think I might have found a good Lisa episode, because I end up liking this episode. I will definitely say this is Lisa's best episode, even though a lot of people will also say that as well, so I'm basically in the majority. Now, I don't love this episode as much as everybody else, but I could definitely see why a lot of the fandom has loved this episode. And again, I do really like it, and I still stand that it's Lisa's best episode. The things I liked about it, I thought this was one of Lisa's best portrayals yet. She still portrayed as somebody who is pretty much kind of being a smart ass and smarter than everybody else, but I feel like it's not played to obnoxious levels like it's been in previous other episodes. I feel like it's tuned in just the right area and not in a way that comes off as going way overboard. I feel like for her it's more like she's super smart, but man, she's not that good socially. Like, she even has to record things that she sees, and she's like, okay, so this is what friendships are like, where they play games and they do things. She does this all throughout the episode, which I'll admit that was a running gag that got a little repetitive, but it wasn't enough for me to dislike this episode. I thought it was used well enough here in the episode. And then we have the aspect where she meets this new friend, Darcy, and I'm not going to be the only one that says this, but I absolutely love Darcy as a character. I thought she was so cute, and I definitely dug her chemistry that she had with Lisa. She very much acted like a typical 4-year-old. She enjoyed playing, she had a stuffed giraffe, she liked drawing, and she wasn't really that much of a fan of eating, I'm assuming was spinach or some sort of leafy thing that Lisa was having. But again, her interactions with Lisa were really cute, and when she was told that she can't be friends with Lisa, I definitely did feel for her. That I was like, oh man, I feel sorry for you. And here's the thing that I definitely do like about this episode, is the message that it's going for. Where after Lisa ends up hearing that she is friends with Darcy, because Darcy says that she's now friends with Lisa, Lisa now thinks, okay, my goal's accomplished, now I don't have to worry about this anymore, I can do what I want. The thing, though, is that she learns that friendship isn't just about being with somebody until they say you're your friend. It's about actually wanting to be with the person, stick around with them, and hang out with them, get to know them. They want to get to know you, so, you should get to know them as well. It'd only be fair. I will say the ending, while it was really nice, I thought it was a little too rushed. Like, I get it's 11 minutes, and they kind of have to wrap things up quickly. That I still kind of thought that Lisa, when she learned that what Darcy said, where Darcy gave her cookie, and she said that's what friends do for each other. I kind of felt like while Lisa learned that episode, it felt a little too rushed that she finally realized that. Still though, I definitely did like the message. I enjoyed Lisa in this episode. I love Darcy, and it was enjoyable. Again, my main issue I have is the same one with the previous 2 episodes. I thought it played itself very safe and predictable, but again, I'm fine with the episode. I don't love it as much as everyone else, but I definitely do like this. This is definitely Lisa's best episode.
This is one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. In fact, barely almost making it out of my top 5. Yeah, it's that good. We haven't had an episode this good to me since Fool's Paradise. First thing I want to bring up, Lincoln only having 2 lines. Yeah, that's a nice little change. I'm glad they finally gave Lincoln a little less screen time, unlike in episodes like, patching things up. I still like that subplot, and I still love that episode, but yeah, it's nice to have Lincoln just have not very much screen time. In the beginning of the episode, when Lisa's going through her A, she mentions the filling out tax returns. I just found that joke kind of funny. And I also liked how they threw in a little reference to the Pop-Up Girls, with Petey Wimple being basically a reference to the character Elmer's Glue, who was like famous for eating paste in that one episode. I can't remember the episode too well. I don't even remember the title.
Paceways.
And oh yeah, Pace Makes Ways. Yeah, I think that was it. And now coming to the main point, Darcy herself, the friend that Lisa makes. She's so freaking cute. Yeah, she is. She's probably my favorite minor character in the show, and I know I like a lot of minor characters like Mr. Grouse, but I think she tops my list of favorite minor characters. She's childish, and it's like really cute. She acts like her age. She finds it funny when Lisa uses big words like cerebrum, and she's just so cute. The ending, I think, is probably the cutest ending in the show. I mean, yeah, Drew does have a point saying that it's rushed, but I still thought it was really cute. Probably cutest ending in the show, period. If they're going to put Darcy in more episodes, I'm all for it. I'd love to see her appear again. She deserves a little more screen time. Adore this episode. Could recommend it to anybody.
Alright, I really enjoyed this episode. First off, Lisa was the best part of the episode. In her whole thing, where at first she was kind of a jerk, but then she felt guilty for it. And the best characters, I always say, feel repercussions for their actions, such as Squidward's from Fools in April. Other things I liked. I like that reference to Powerpuff Girls Volley mentioned. Also, I'm probably the only person who noticed, but there was a Sesame Street reference at the end to the song "What Is Friend," where Cookie Monster gives up his cookie, gives half of his cookie to his friend, which I really enjoyed. Other things, little things I noticed. Darcy was cute. I just love Darcy. I hope she returns, unlike, say, other characters, because Darcy was so cute. She felt so genuine and innocent, and I liked the stuff to half. But then again, this is Bun's biggest fan here. And one more thing before I go off, this is Carla's best episode this season. I think.
Nice. So is that all you got to say?
Alright. Take it away, DG.
Alright, so yeah, I have to agree with Vazi here. This is one of my new favorite episodes of the show, but not so top 5, more so top 10 per se. But even if it's not my top 5, yeah, I don't need. Okay, I'm repeating myself at this point. First off, Lisa finally has a good major appearance. She doesn't come off as too cynical, nor too one-dimensional, nor too overly creepy obsessed with science. She's just the perfect amount of smart, yet Lisa actually comes up as actually endearing and charming as the other kids. I mean, the other loud.
The other loud siblings.
The other loud siblings, and her relationship with Darcy, you can definitely feel it, even if you know what the outcome is at the end, and you get the sense that these two are going to be best friends. And I do hope that they'll keep it running. I mean, if Sam's going to return in season 3, so will Darcy. And speaking of which, Yeah, Dorothy's adorable, hands down. And here's a fun fact I'm surprised none of you have mentioned. Here's something. Dorothy's actually voiced by the same little girl who voiced Sally in the Peanuts movie. Assuming anyone here.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I
No,
saw.
seriously, same actress. I figured I looked it up.
Oh, that's cool. I like the Peanuts movie.
Yeah,
That's
and
best interpretation
yeah, and,
of a existing franchise
and
in
it
a
definitely
while.
resulted in a really good moral of how friendship is definitely one of the most important things. And even though it's technically a very cliche moral, it's a very well done one. And Lisa was the perfect character to learn this. I mean, now if there was someone like Lynn or Lucy to learn this, it wouldn't have been as strong. But for what character they picked, Lisa's definitely the best one to choose. So overall, a 10 out of 10.
Awesome, cool. So, all right. So now we're on the final episode of the week, and that is No Laughing Matter. Now, what were your expectations going into this episode, Vossi?
The only thing I can really expect is, okay, we have a Luann episode here, so I'm probably gonna think it's gonna not be as good as it's gonna be probably end up being better than April Fool's Rules, but nowhere as Paradise, since it is a Luann episode. And since I do like Luann quite a bit, I was looking forward to this.
Alright, this was an episode I was really excited for. After the writer for it, going to be Tom Ruger, the writer for animated shows such as Scooby-Doo, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Freakazoid, and Tiny Toons, was really hyped for the Luann beat.
The concept itself sounds rather interesting for Luann's character. I mean, granted, it could have come a little earlier, admittedly, because some people did point this out, but regardless, the factor that Luann, out of all characters, is he quits her own passion, it was new ground that not built upon. I mean, I know Luna went through an idea episode, which hopefully we'll be getting, but anyways, and though what made me nervous is that some people were proposing it would be bad if the episode was just not that good, at least to the general public. But regardless, anticipated because I just was curious to what their character, given all that has she been at this point.
All right. This was my most anticipated episode of the week. Luann so far is my third favorite character on the show, and here's the thing, is that she's had a bit of an interesting journey ever since the beginning of the show, because her first major role in an episode, I guess you can argue, is April Fool's Rules. And while it's not my least favorite episode of Season 1, it's not even in my top 10, I still don't like the episode all that much. Even going back and rewatching it, I still don't like it. Thankfully, she managed to recover with Funny Business, which was in my top 10 for favorite episodes of Season 1. I definitely do really like that episode.
Although we got a character that needs to die in the fandom.
Moving on. And then Season 2 occurred, and she had an episode called Fool's Paradise, and it ended up becoming one of my favorite episodes of all time. Yeah, an April Fool's episode ended up becoming one of my all-time favorite episodes. And the reason why, they got the plot right for it. And unlike April Fool's Rules, where it was pretty much just playing itself very... okay, you know what? I'm going to talk more about that episode around when we do another podcast talking about our least favorite and favorite of Season 5. Because really, describing what makes Fool's Paradise better than April Fool's Rules, it's a little complicated. But let's just say Fool's Paradise was just such a blast. I had so much fun with that episode. So with all that in mind, No Laughing Matter had a very high bar to set, because we're going to be getting 2 episodes this season. One was the April Fool's episode, and the other was the more personal episode, which was very similar to last season, where we had April Fool's Rules and Funny Business, where, again, we had one April Fool's episode, and the other was the more personal episode. So I was very excited for No Laughing Matter, because Fool's Paradise was excellent. The bar is set high for No Laughing Matter to top it, possibly, if it can. So I was hoping the episode would be great. I was very excited for this. So now we're going to let Yoshi give their thoughts on the episode.
Alright, I'm here again for my last time on this video. Now we've gotten to No Laughing Matter. Oh boy. Okay, so I have some choice words to say about this episode. Now, I'll start with saying something. Originally, I liked this episode. I kind of felt sorry for Luann. I thought the episode was done well. When I first saw it, I thought it was alright. But rewatching it, the more I realized, for some reason, whenever I rewatched it, I, for some reason, started to feel a little bit insulted. I discovered the reason why. It almost feels like that this episode is basically saying, if you're a critic and you're criticizing someone, then you're wrong. You're a really bad person. Because in this episode, when Luann is criticized for her puns and her pranks, she basically decides to give up comedy. Now, before we get to that issue, I just want to quickly clarify. I think this is a very stupid message for this episode. What it's basically saying is, if you're a critic and you're being harsh to someone, then you do not deserve credit. You're the bad guy in this situation, and the one who's criticized you should feel sorry for. No. This episode, first off, it doesn't give a good reason to feel sorry for Luann, because in the first few minutes of the episode, she already comes off as an unlikable asshole, because she's not making jokes with her siblings. She's pranking them harshly, like she did in April Fool's Rules, which was a very bad callback. So it didn't make Luann look innocent. In fact, when she was called out for it, I was like, good. You know what? She deserved it because she was being a dick. She was just being a dick to her siblings before, and I think she deserved it. But that's not a positive, because let's get in the fact. Luann gives up comedy just because her siblings said, "Oh, it was stupid and terrible." Need I remind you that Luann is a character who doesn't care about what people say about her jokes. She's very self-aware. She knows that people don't like her jokes, but she's still going to give audiences her best. She's still going to try. She's still going to put in all her effort, because she knows in the end, when it comes to how she does, she thinks in the end it will pay off. Even when she's criticized, she doesn't care. Like, even when her siblings are groaning or getting annoyed, she doesn't care. She still does what she does because she loves it. But no, when she hears her siblings complaining about it this time, she gives it up. Now, if this was like an origin episode where it took place a few years ago, maybe I would buy it. But no, she just gives it up for no reason other than the fact that her siblings were criticizing her. And you know what? This makes Luann look very weak, because here's the thing. When you're criticized for something, you have to improve yourself. And I know Luann, she's only 14 years old, she's still a fairly young teenager, but I know she can do this. I know Luann can improve herself. I've seen her do it before. Everyone tries to improve herself. Everyone tries to improve themselves in this show. So how come Luann can't do it with her comedy? And I know you're probably going to give the argument, oh, it's because she doesn't want to annoy her siblings. So, if she doesn't want to annoy her siblings, then just don't use the same old jokes. Come up with new material. I think what this episode should have done is, it should have been more about, maybe Luann does give up her comedy, but at the same time, she's also... No, she doesn't give up her comedy. Scratch that. Like, when she hears her siblings complaining, she does feel sad, but while she's doing this, not only does she try to stop doing comedy, but she also tries to find a way to improve her comedy. Like, let's say, for example, in this episode, like, you see Luann, oh, she's not being funny. When you look at her side, you realize it's because she wants to stop doing her jokes, not just because, she doesn't want to annoy her siblings, but because she's also trying to experiment with new material. I think if the episode did that, it would have been a very, very good job. Because, yes, it would have made the siblings look a little bit harsh for being mean. But at the same time, they're also being helpful because they're convincing Luann, hey, try something new, do something unique. Therefore, it makes you realize, oh, so it's okay to criticize people, because even though they may feel a little let down, they can improve themselves. That's what's called constructive criticism. And in this episode, Luann does not take constructive criticism. She gives it up. And you're supposed to feel sorry for her. But I do not feel sorry for Luann. I see her as a very weak, fragile person who will just be sad over anything that happens to her. This is very, very out of character for Luann. And on top of that, it annoys me because being a critic who has to put up with constructive criticism a lot, and to see an episode where they don't do that, that really frustrates me. I know a lot of critics may not be offended, but for some reason I feel offended. Basically what this episode is saying, if you're a critic and you're criticizing someone, fuck you. Like, no, fuck that. That's a very stupid message for this episode. So what? What you're trying to say to me is, oh, I hate Brawl in the Family. Don't hate it, because you're being mean. I don't care. I'm criticizing. That's what a critic is supposed to do. And this episode basically treats critics as the bad guy. That really, really frustrates me. That's not my only problem, though. There are a lot of problems I have with this episode. First off, I really hate the scene when all the siblings are trying to convince Luann to be funny. It's not funny. The only funny thing in this episode was when Lisa was talking about how they can go back in time, except their faces may be replaced with their butts. I thought that was kind of funny. The worst joke in this episode by far, and oh my god, this one made me cringe so much, was when Lincoln was doing the stand-up comedy and he was trying to tell bad jokes. I understand that was the intention, or maybe it wasn't. I thought it was kind of funny how at first you made it look like Lincoln was intentionally doing it, but he was like, oh wait, yeah, sure, I was totally doing it intentionally. I thought that was kind of funny. And I also, I liked it when Lenny hugged Luann. I thought that was really adorable. But back on topic, this scene, when Lincoln is doing his stand-up comedy, it is one of the most fucking cringe-worthy things I've ever sat through in the entire show. Whenever Lincoln is being nervous, or when he's trying to tell a funny joke, and it fails, it is so cringe-worthy, I just wanted to turn it off, because it was too much for me. So yeah, I know I apologize for being really annoyed, but my god, I really hated this episode. This is probably in my top 20 least favorite episodes of all time. It almost made my top 10, believe it or not. At least on my top 5 least favorite episodes of Season 2, but it didn't, because there are a few things I like. And I guess in terms of an episode that frustrates me, it doesn't frustrate me as much as episodes like Making the Case or Change of Heart or Not Allowed, but yeah, this episode sucks. I really hate it. And I don't care if people say it's underrated. I think it deserves hatred, because I think it's a really stupid episode that makes fun of critics. And that's insulting, considering I am a critic. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this entire video. So continue on, guys. I'll see you all when the next time I show up. Later, guys. Continue on.
Now, I'm going to go first, and I'm pretty much going to have the most different opinion out of all of you when we talk about this episode. And I'm not going to make any new friends with this, but I found No Laughing Matter disappointing. This is my most anticipated episode of the week, and yet I was let down by this. I found this forgettable and boring. I mean, for the first minute of this episode, I did not like Luann. I thought her pranks just came off as very annoying, even if it was intentional. But still, they could have at least been funny in a charming sort of way, but they just came off more. It just reminded me a lot of April Fool's Rules, where a lot of the pranks in that episode came off less as pranks and more of like cheap YouTube videos of people doing dumb shit and getting hurt. That's very much what it reminded me of. Like, for starters, how was Lincoln getting punched by a boxing glove even supposed to be a prank? Or Luann flushing the toilet while Luna's in the shower. That's not a prank. That's just being a dick. And then, while the siblings are hanging out in the living room, they're venting about how annoying Luann's pranks are. And to no one's surprise, she heard the whole thing, and now she's going to give up comedy. Here's my main issue with the episode. It expects us to buy that this is Luann's first time that she's ever being criticized about her work. She's been doing comedy, I'm assuming, ever since she was a little girl, and now this is the first time her siblings are saying, hey, your comedy's being annoying. I don't really, and not to mention we've had 2 previous April Fool's episodes where I'm assuming the family was getting aggravated by her pranks, and if they were, she just brushes us off and moves on. And now in this episode, she acts like, oh, my family doesn't like my pranks. I'm going to give up comedy for good. For me, this just made Luann just come off as very weak, and that she just can't handle criticism about her work. And unfortunately, the sad truth about it is that people will criticize your work, and the best thing for you to do is, and to quote Lincoln from Salute the Consequences, you gotta have thick skin to deal with it. Even though I don't like that episode, I have to agree with him on that. After that, the episode just plays out how you would expect it to be, where the siblings are sorry for Luann and they pretty much want to get her back into comedy. And the problem I have here is the same one that I've had with all of the episodes this week. It plays itself very safe, it's predictable, and it's not really that unique. And I feel like No Laughing Matter is the biggest example of that. And even for an episode that's about Luann and it's supposed to be about comedy, I found this episode about as funny as a funeral. The funniest gag for me in this episode was this one little thing that Lisa was having where they were talking about plans, and Lisa was like, I have this time machine, and she said that if we can use this time machine, we can go back 2 minutes before Luann heard her comments. And then she made a comment about, like, if we do that, we'll end up in each other's butts or something like that. It was odd, but I found it amusing. I thought it was the funniest joke in the episode. But otherwise, there was some cringy stuff here. I mean, the spit take thing, I just found that no, I didn't think it was all that funny. And then you have that part of Lincoln's plan where he goes to the stand-up show, which I'm sure one of you will mention what the name is, and Lincoln pretty much is trying to read off all of Luann's jokes, and it comes off as so uncomfortable. Even if it was intentional, I still didn't find it enjoyable. And then after that, when Luann corrects Lincoln, suddenly people laugh at her, and now she's like, I'm gonna get back into comedy. It's as easy as that. Just have people laugh at what she's doing, and now she's back to doing her comedy. The problem I have here is that it seems like Luann hardly learned anything out of this. It seems like all she learned is that she's going to hold back on her comedy a little. And what I wish this episode did was that it focused on Luann taking her criticisms and using it as motivation to improve on her comedy. And because again, by the end of the episode, she's back to what she was doing before at the beginning of the episode. And the only thing she kind of develops here is that she's going to hold back on her comedy a little, which it's the same problem I had with Lynn from Winner Takes All, where she says she's going to do something and not do it as much, but by the very end, she's just kind of back to doing it. Just a little, and everyone's like, we're glad you're doing it, which it sucks considering that Luann is one of my favorite characters, and I feel like she only barely gets developed. If anything, I feel like the moral of this episode is that you shouldn't criticize people for their work, which comes from someone who does frequently critique TV shows, movies, and music. I just found this annoying, because now somehow I'm the bad guy for being honest with a piece of entertainment, where I say I didn't like what I saw, and now suddenly that's just not right at all. The only thing I did like about this episode, though, was the ending. The ending was nice, and I thought Lenny hugging Luann was easily the highlight for me. I thought that was so cute. But really, this was disappointing. I don't think it's the most disappointing episode of Season 2. I still hold Change of Heart as that. But, man, I wanted this to be a lot better, and I was let down. So, Bossy?
So, first up, we have this episode. Luann's little jokes towards the other siblings at the beginning, honestly found them decently funny to an extent. I mean, I found them decently funny, and this is gonna sound weird. I kind of just found the Tori and Luna in the shower kind of just that. Except I've also heard cold. The temperature change. It doesn't matter. And there were two lines that stood out. Having a yoke on her hair was kind of funny too, but there were two quotes that stood out. Lola's, she wrote it in her diary, and then everybody looks at her and she's like, probably. You know, Lola being a little snitch. Don't put my butt in front. Alana's lines, I swear, are usually really good. It was a pretty weak way to end off the week, but I don't think this episode was terrible.
Oh, I'm gonna get the elephant out of the room. Kevin Sullivan was writing all my, what's the proper word?
Vietnam flashback.
No, it's not. No, not Vietnam flashback. All the color drain. I was Sullivan. I don't hate him as a writer. In fact, I think younger writers on the show. But yeah, I was like, aw, I want to see. But anyway, enough about. It's just okay. It wasn't anything like bad. Just mixed for me. Overall, this was just okay, and I just love Lincoln's joke of, "Oh, that's what I was trying to do: screw up your show, your jokes, to actually do it." Me. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say, except that I don't know why, but see, Lana get hit funny to me.
All right, so while you just okay to just simply just win. I, on the other hand, think it's good. I mean, don't get this is not funny business by a long shot. Far from it. But I'll say that even I'll admit that it is really predictable and not many of the jokes do make me laugh. I mean, there are some that did get me a good laugh, but not a lot that would be worthy of a chuckle, which is ironic considering that Luann's sole stick is comedy. But still, but what it tries to make up for is what and the story and Luann's development. I say and I can easily relate to her. Now, here's the thing, though. I mean, I don't at all like try to give up what I'm doing after just hearing my family criticize me. But whenever I feel like they don't, sometimes whenever they're just joking with me, like her son of that, or they call me out for something, I get bummed out, and I'm trying to work on. It. And it feels like my life has just kind of to rethink. Then of it happens where I changed my lifestyle completely, but that's beside the point. I'm just trying to say that I relate to Luann in this episode. So, and when she gives up comedy, I kind of feel sorry for her, even with what she did. And so, and I really did like that the sibling to remotivate her. It was pretty. And here's something that I actually heard from a friend of mine that he pointed out in his first thoughts is that apparently with how Luann she isn't that funny to her family, but she ends up being funny to an audience. She figures out that she just has a different audience, I guess. But I don't know if that's looking too deep, but something I that I never thought of. But and I did like, and even though Luann didn't get the most development, I do think it promise that Luann will probably less as her puns won't be as common, so she doesn't feel too one-dimensional as she did. It is definitely not Yes Man or One Shot, but I still enjoy it. So 8 out of 10.
Yeah. All right. So that was our week of new episodes, and now as far as my best and worst goes, Yes Man easily takes best of the week for me. That mostly was just probably my favorite out of all of them. And worst of the week, I hate to say it, but it's No Laughing Matter. It's not a terrible episode, but by far the most disappointing of the week.
But friend or foe, instantly taking it. I'd love to see Darcy appear more. The episode horrible, of course, least oriented. You get No Laughing Matter. That episode was just not really that, and not really that interesting.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Muppet.
All right, I'm just gonna do kind of like a top 3 because 2 of them are tied.
Okay.
Best of the week, Brenner Fox. Middle of the week, No Laughing Matter. And tied, Future Tense and Yes Man.
Best of the week, definitely Panda Fox by a long shot. Finally made me like Lisa as a character in a major role, and Darcy's adorable return. Worst of the week, I was debating either Yes Man and earlier, but given never mind about that. Actually, it has to be Future Tense. Unfortunately, I mean, I still really like the episode, but had it not been spoiled for me so much, I would have liked it a little more.
All right, so thank you guys for watching our latest episode of Talking Loud. I also want to give a thank you to our guest, Digi, for joining us.
Thank you, and I hope I can return someday if I can. I'll let you guys know.
All right, and hopefully we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about October. You guys know our thoughts on those episodes. So until then, I'm Andrew Brower.
I'm Anglophile Gamer.
I'm MuppetSpot.
CynicTheCritic 99.
And we'll see you guys next time.